when on the 10th, or rather 12th August 1944, I found myself on the ramp in Birkenau. I was one of over 500 Polish children who were taken from the uprising in Warsaw, immediately in the first transport of civilians. We were immediately taken by the SS staff and the Kapo, that is the guards of the camp. We were immediately called Kleine Polnische Banditen aus Warschau, that is, young Polish bandits from Warsaw. There were more than 500 of us. 500. More than 350 girls and little boys were taken inmates to the women's camp, and myself and about 150 boys aged 10 to 13, we were inmates of the men's camp in Birkenau. When rarely we would turn to one of the capos because they were in good mood. Capo, we are children. What evil have we done that we are here? We want to be free. We want home. The answer was they would be giggling joyfully, and the capo would say, "Home, freedom. Do you see the chimneys? This is the only way to freedom from here. There is no other way to freedom from Birkenau." And I only recently met during a meeting with students. They were the penultimate year of the secondary school. I was telling them about our experiences, the experiences of children in the camps. After several questions concerning the details of life in the camp, a question was asked, was there a school in Birkenau? And I just, burst out with laughter. Birkenau and school. But in a moment I thought, well, yes, indeed, that was a school. That was a school of survival. Such a school where they wanted to turn us into slaves. They wanted to bereave us of hope for any life whatsoever, to get us ready to follow orderly, like beasts, march 5 by 5 into the gas chamber, as the camp was destined and designed. Birkenau, at the time, well, perhaps earlier, that also was the thing. It was not a Konzentrationslager, this was Vernichtungslager, the death camp, and you really never left it any other way but through the chimney. We, however, would not get broken by our, you could call them teachers, the SS staff and the capo. And in this school, the school of Birkenau, they were getting us ready for this humble death, life in humility, if not instantaneous death, but to work, to labor for the Third Reich as long as strengths and lives don't leave us. In this whole mass of people, we survived and we retained human reflexes. We retained them all among those tragical conditions where you were starving, freezing, and day in, day out. We retained our dreams of freedom. They were what let us survive, live to the end. Our paths were different. The paths of the boys from the insurgent Warsaw, incarcerated in Birkenau. Some went to Germany. They were forcibly transported to concentration camps. like Mauthausen were in the March of Death from Auschwitz on the 18th and 19th January. Boys marched in snow, freezing among the winds, to Wodzisław Śląski, where they were awaited for open rail cars to be taken away further. Some, like myself, were transported to Germany, where we worked as forced labor on removing the rubble of the Third Reich, which was under bombardment at the time. Only few children lived to see liberation here on the 27th of January. I remember that in the block in the Sector D, so a neighboring one, that's where we were in December, next to us, next to the Polish block, there was the block of little Jewish children. Perhaps these were the children who were shown in the videos shown by the Russian operators after the liberation of the camp, because our children, those who were liberated in Auschwitz, those who were survivors, they were transported to Krakow, treated there, and it was only from there that several months later they could, while they were found by their families, they could return to regular life. There are very few of us. Here in this room, there are precisely a handful of people, a few children from that time who I remember. We were together in the women's camp for one day, and then in the men's concentrationslager. We go on meeting together. We discuss our past, the time in the camp, a tragic memory for every one of us, and every public appearance like this is just recalling that pain, tearing it from within. But unfortunately, we must talk about that to keep up the memory of what happened here, and that totalitarian system may lead in its life to precisely that. Thank you.